All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. I know we have somebody in the room here, we have somebody online. I know Cindy, we've definitely met before, obviously, but I don't know, I've met, is it Azila? Is that how you say your name? Yeah, awesome. So I don't think that we've met before. If we have, it's been a while. So my name's Melissa. I'm the operations coordinator for the coaching team here at Keller Williams Legacy. And basically, I do a lot of the management of our database within the brokerage and also with our lead flow that we have that Rachel and Alana might have talked about. Did you guys mention that earlier today?
I'm sorry,
The lead flow that we do?
we did not come up with.
Okay, so the coaching team at here, we actually do lead flow. So if that's something that you're interested in, what we do is we get you on our team and then we are able to send leads from different sources every week. So that's also something that I do is I manage the lead flow and everything with that within our database. So what I want to do for you all, because a big part of reaching out to your sphere, you know, you spent this morning maybe doing your lead gen and things like that. That's fantastic. But the biggest thing is that it's super important to do the follow-up as well. And when you have maybe 10 or 15 leads, it's not so difficult. It's like, okay, you kind of know who's doing what, and you have all those details saved up in your brain. But when you are moving towards having a larger database, even just like 100 people, or once it starts growing to 1,000 or even more than that, it becomes really difficult to just be using the knowledge that you have stored in your brain or in an Excel sheet or something like that. So what we want to do is go into kind of some best practices and kind of why it's important to use a database and how to use it to really inform your follow-up so that when you're going forward with things, you are doing it in a very purposeful and effective and efficient way. So we'll go ahead and get started. And the first question that I wanted to ask you all, because I know that we do have people here, is to kind of get your opinions on some things. So the first question I want to ask is, what do you all think is the purpose of the database? Like, why do you think it's important to have one?
To follow up with your leads.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, to make sure nobody falls through the cracks or anything like that. Awesome. And what do you guys think makes it valuable? What about a database versus just, you know, keeping an Excel sheet or something like that is helpful, do you think?
I think the timing in the marketing plays a role because eventually you have to communicate with them, send them an email or send them some marketing campaign in order for them to respond or be in their thoughts when they need you for one of their sales or for their purchase.
Yeah, I like that. So you kind of mentioned being in their thoughts and kind of being top of mind for them as you're working with them. And I think what that implies is that you're going to have certain things in place like drip campaigns. Here at KW, we call them smart plans, but it's basically those systems that you put in place to automate your touches with those people that you're working with. So whether that is texts that go out automatically to your database, whether that is reminders to you to reach out through phone calls or things like that, or whether it is actually sending out mailers, you know, sending out a calendar with your name and contact information at the top. Whatever it is making sure that you have those touches throughout the year. So the next thing is I wanted to ask you, well, what kind of other industries do you think use the database for prospecting and marketing? Well, I know for a fact that some of the other industries that use the database is, I would say, almost all of them, really. So I know I came from a background in higher ed. I used to work in admissions at Towson University, and we had a huge CRM, customer relations management system, that had all of the contacts of students that were thinking of coming to the university, or students that were currently in the application cycle, and then also students who were current. And so having that information is so much easier because each territory might have thousands of students that are interested, and there's no way you're going to keep that all in just a little Excel sheet. So it's really important to make sure that you have those databases for pretty much any industry that's going to have external contact. And what do you think makes targeted marketing effective? So kind of making sure that your marketing is specific to those people that you're reaching out. What do you think makes that effective?
Well, they know, they keep up with the data, and they know what the needs are for that market. So they know how to tell you what we're doing to what the needs are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so kind of maybe if you're putting in information about your contacts that they have a certain interest or they have a certain neighborhood they're thinking about or something like that, then you can set up your smart plans or your drip campaigns to be specific. Yeah, and providing that specific information to them. Awesome. Yeah, that's great. All right, so basically when you're looking at your database, there's 3 different levels of creating that database. So you might think it's just having their contact information and maybe a few notes when you reach out to them, that type of thing, but it's actually a lot more in depth than that. And there's 3 different ways you can go about it. No matter what, if you're going to have your database, you need to have at least these essential items. So it has to have obviously the name, the contact information. You have to make sure that it has the past business and past contact records. So that's like if you had worked with them in the past, or if you've called them and you have notes from a phone call that you had with them, putting that information into the notes section of your database, and then at-will communication. And essentially what at-will communication is where you've reached out to them and they have responded, which essentially gives you the permission to continue reaching out to them. So when you talk to somebody, they're just a person out there. They don't become a contact until they respond to you. So you have this permission essentially to be reaching out to them. So no matter what, your database needs to have these things. And if you're missing some piece of contact information, like an email, or if you're missing a phone number, that's a great way to organically reach out to that person to find out that information. Rather than just Googling it or trying to figure it out that way. Sometimes you have to, especially if you get leads that don't have all the information to begin with. But if you have at least, let's say, their phone number, but you don't have their email address, it's a great idea to give them a call and be like, hey, I'm sending out this information about the market in your neighborhood. Just wanted to see if I could get your email so that I can start sending you this value every week or every month, however often you're sending it. So it's telling them that you have value to provide and you're getting their email at the same time. And it gives you a purpose for calling them rather than just saying, hey, are you looking to buy or sell a house every time you reach out to them? So no matter what, when you build your database, make sure you have these essential items. Now, if you want to transition into having a more effective database, you want to make sure you have these things as well. So kind of that permission that they're going to be reaching back out to you and back and forth. You want to also start collecting the personal information, so the insights and the preferences. So this could be the neighborhoods they're thinking about. I know, for example, one of the most effective smart plans within Command is the smart plan that sends that neighborhood information. So the average price, how many houses sold in the last month, kind of where the prices are going. Are they going up? Are they going down? So that's a really powerful smart plan because that's something that people want to know. So you want to make sure you have that information, what neighborhoods they're interested in that contact information in your database. You also want to start thinking about segmenting and grouping them based on the things that you've seen 1 through 6. So let's say that you know that a few of your contacts are really big dog lovers. Maybe you called them and you heard a new puppy barking in the background and you say, oh, I hear your dog. And they say, oh, I just got a new puppy. I'm so excited. You're going to want to take that note down of that dog, that's a detail that you know about them, for 2 reasons. One, you can actually, when you reach out to them the next time, is you can ask how that dog is doing. And that shows that you remember a personal detail about them. It just is another touch point to show that you care about them as a person. And 2, you can now create a tag such as dog lover. The reason that's powerful is, let's say in the future you decide you want to do an event with a local humane society. Maybe it's a fundraiser. And you're going to have kind of a get together at their location and you're going to bring other people from your sphere in and all your contacts. And it's a way for you to kind of mingle with your contacts. It's a way to benefit the community. And it's a way to get new contacts as well. But the only way you're going to know to get that information out to your contacts is if you have things like tags telling you who has what specific interests. So your tags can be very creative. They can be things that it's not just like, oh, this neighborhood or oh, this price point. It's a tag, things like dog lover, Ravens, whatever it might be, Steelers. But being purposeful about those things as you're talking to them and what types of information could be helpful in the future. The other thing I would say is that in order to have an effective database is you want to have that purposeful and consistent communication. So when you have your database, you're reaching out to people, obviously, at least the first time, but I want to see kind of what you all think. How many times do you think you have to reach out to a person before they actually convert to an appointment or Yeah, basically to an appointment. How many times do you think you should reach out?
I would say 3 to 7 times.
Absolutely, that's perfect. I was gonna say average of 5 and you got 3 to 7, which is perfect. So what that means is that you can't just reach out to a lead once and say, oh, they weren't interested, I'm done. It has to be that you have a plan to reach out to them consistently for a certain amount of time, so that, like you said, actually, Sela, that it's consistent in their top of mind, but also so that if they do start thinking about it, like maybe you've triggered that thought in their mind, like, well, maybe I am interested in buying or selling, so that every time that this has been on their mind, you're the one who's reaching out in that moment. So that's super important for your database. Now, let's say you want to move to the exceptional level. This is where you have that purposeful and consistent communication, but it's automated. So it's not just that you have to remember every day, who am I supposed to call? Who am I supposed to follow up with? Instead, your database is going to either send automated messages like texts or emails, or it's going to trigger tasks to remind you to call those people so that you don't have to think about who comes next. Your database tells you every morning when you log in. And I'll show you guys how to set that up today too. But that is kind of one of the most key pieces of moving from just a basic database to one that is exceptional and going to make a big difference for you. Any questions so far about any of the things that we talked about? Cool. Okay, so going forward, we kind of touched on this a little bit. I know, Asila, you had said how many attempts to make a contact convert to an appointment, and you had said 3 to 7, which is perfect. I want to get like kind of an idea from you all. How many follow-up attempts are you all making now? I see Marcia's here now, Asila, Cindy. How many follow-ups do you guys think you're doing now?
I probably maybe 3. I know I should make more. I would say on average. I know I all of. If I can't get in touch with you, I'll just keep going.
Yeah, sure.
Once left them a message, or they'll send me a text message. If I've had some kind of communication, I can contact them.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, what about Marcia? I saw that you unmuted. How many follow-ups do you think that you're doing?
I've done 4 so far, and they're various. So if I don't get an answer to a phone call, I'll send an email, and then I will send a brief text message. But 4, I would say 4 strong ones, which I consider to be the phone calls, and then the other things I consider to be soft, but they are, that is me trying to contact those leads.
Perfect, awesome. And what about you, Asila?
I would say not enough. I think what I just came to Keller Williams, so I need to build my database and kind of autopilot it, but I need a lot of work to do.
Sure. Well, you knew that it was 3 to 7, which is really good. That's
Right.
That you know kind of what the right way to go is. So that's good. That I think just the fact that you all are doing more than one follow-up makes you above average in real estate, because a lot of agents call and the person's like, no, I'm not interested. And they're like, okay, bye. And they hang up and they never reach out to that person again. And some other real estate person gets it into their database and now they're reaching out, they're going to get the business when that person changes their mind, even though you're the one who put that seed into their mind that maybe they are interested in buying or selling. So I think you all are at a good place to recognize that it needs the more follow-up and that you're doing a little bit of it. But I would say definitely making sure, even just within the first 2 weeks of when you get a lead, is that you're reaching out at least 5 times, assuming that they were not ready the first time, or if they didn't respond to you the first time. So that being said, I wanted to see, why do you all think that it's important to do the follow-up?
To stay on their mind, so when they're ready, they can reach out to us.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's super important, is to stay top of mind. But I think also, if you think about like marketing, for example, people have to see something 7 times before they'll make a big purchase on it, on average. So let's say somebody is thinking, like Rachel, for example, just bought what is it? It's my car. Yeah. Dodge.
It's a Bronco Sport.
Bronco
Ford
Sport.
Bronco Sport.
Yes, so that's something that you've been thinking about doing for a while, right?
For almost 2 years, yeah.
Yeah. But it wasn't something that you were ready to jump on right away, and you had to see it a few times, you had to look at it, do the research, hear about it, all that kind of stuff. Did you get like Facebook ads or anything about it?
Not really.
Okay,
I haven't seen too many car Facebook ads. It's not that I remember.
okay. Well, I know probably about a year ago, I was thinking about buying a car, and I filled out some of those surveys on those different auto, like car sales websites.
I
and
avoid those.
Yeah, 'cause their follow-up is like fantastic. So I think it's that thing where when you hear it a certain number of times, it's going to kind of click something in your brain where you're like, actually, this is something that I'm interested in. And if you're the one that is constantly reminding them, it puts you in a place to be the person that they think of when they're thinking about real estate. So suddenly you're connected with that thing that they want or need.
One of the things I did, I test drove back in February. I knew I wasn't ready yet, but I kind of wanted to test drive a bunch of cars to kind of get an idea of which car, so that way when I was ready, I could make a quicker purchase, I guess. And so when I decided that, okay, it was time, I actually went back to and texted, I didn't end up buying from them, but one of the people I reached out to was someone that I had test driven with and had given me their information back in February, and they had, I told them I wasn't ready, but they were still kind of like, well, if the right car comes in, can I text you? And I was like, yeah, sure. So he had texted me for a while and then stopped. But I remembered him, so I reached back out, and I think he might have left that company because he didn't reach out to me. I had to like reach out again to their office to like get a hold of somebody. But if he had still been there and still used that texting service, he would have got my business because I remembered him being really helpful.
Yeah.
Like for about a month after I test drove.
Yeah, well, so, and that's where that piece where you said he was very helpful, it's that piece of you providing value each time you reach out, so it's not just, again, it's not just, hey, are you looking to buy or sell a house? No, okay, bye. Hey, are you looking to buy or sell a house? Okay, bye. It's instead saying, oh, here's some market updates about the neighborhood you're looking at. Oh, here's an event that I'm having for a certain thing that you're interested in. Or, whatever it might be, providing value each time so that they think of you as somebody who is an industry expert, who is helpful, who is reaching out, so also organized. I mean, when I see somebody reaching out to me multiple times, it might be annoying, but it's also like that person's got their stuff together because they are clearly remembering that they need to reach out to me each time. So I think that's why the follow-up is so important, is so that you're top of mind, you're the only real estate agent they think of when they do it. All right. So here's a little bit more about kind of why you would want to use a database. The first thing is kind of avoiding the today trap. So what a lot of times happens with agents is when they come in, you'll do your lead gen, you're doing really great, and then you get somebody who's interested and you're like, awesome, I'm going to focus all my attention on helping this buyer or seller. And lead gen goes out the window. It's not something that you worry about anymore because you're focusing on giving this one client a really good experience, which is fantastic. You want to give that person a really good experience and give them all of your time and value that you can. But what happens is that buyer or seller goes through the whole process, they have a closing, woohoo, you get paid, and now they're gone, and now you don't have any business, and you're starting all over again. And the lead gen process, it can take up to 90 days for you to be doing that consistent lead generation before it'll actually turn into business. So that means that if you have only focused on that one today person and not worried about lead gen all those months that it took to get that person into a house or to get them to sell their house, now you're gonna have to wait, not only you have no business now, but it take you 3 more months to get business again. So having a really well focused database that has some of that automated messaging, has some of that automated lead gen and tasks to remind you like, I still need to call this many people each day, even though I have a business, is what's going to prevent you from being in that today trap where now it's tomorrow and now what. The other thing is that it does have predictable return on investment, which we'll go into in a second, but you can actually look at how many people are in your database and kind of determine how much money that you could have from each of these people based on their likelihood to sell and their price points and all of this, and Command can actually show you how to do that as well. So knowing who's in your database gives you that predictable return on investment and a sales pipeline that gives you predictability in a business that typically is not super predictable. real estate is not necessarily a place where it's obvious where your money's coming from each month. So you want to have that ROI and you want to have that pipeline so that you always have business. So we kind of talked about this a little bit already, but again, without that database, you're only working for today. So just to illustrate it a little bit, I think this is 100 people. So let's say there's 100 people that you're going to reach out to, that you're lead genning with right now. Only about this many of the people are actually thinking about buying or selling a house right now. These are the ones that are ready right now. So they're not just thinking about it. They're like, okay, I want to buy or sell a house right now. The only thing about that is that if you're only focusing on these people, you're ignoring all the people here. You're not sending them things. You're not reminding them that you're in real estate on social media. You're not texting them or things like that. And in reality, out of these people, I think it's 7 here, really only one of them isn't represented right now. So you're looking for the one person out of 7 that doesn't have a real estate agent that's ready right now. And that's not a reliable business plan. It's not a place that's going to keep you secure in this business. So we really need to focus on everybody all at once, all the time. Any questions about any of that so far? So the other thing I had mentioned was the return on investment. And there's basically 3 different things to keep in mind with this. When you have a database, it really is the lowest lead cost. Because you're working with people that are within your sphere of influence, or people that you've worked with in the past, people that know people you've worked with in the past. Having those people in your database are the cheapest because you're not paying for those leads. These are people that already know and like you. And by the way, if they know and like you, they probably trust you. Most people don't like people that they don't trust. So they're going to be willing to do business with you because they do like you. So I know a lot of times agents are like, I don't want to work with people that are family or friends, but in reality, you know, you might be preventing them from having one of the best real estate agents because you're here at KW getting all this training and you have the resources of the coaches and you have all of this. So maybe by not working with your sphere, you're actually doing them a disservice. And it's just the easiest business too, because they do trust you already. So that's the lowest lead cost, is having people in your database that you already know. Now, of course, if you want to do things like lead flow, you want to sign up for it with us, where we actually pay the cost for you for the leads, or if you want to buy leads through like Zillow or whatever it might be, that's fine. But just know that there's a cost associated with that, and that most of those companies, even if they have no upfront costs, you're going to have a split or a referral fee at the end. So getting your people that you know and like in your database is super important. The other thing is that it has the lowest conversion cost. So what you'll want to think about is that the people that you've worked with in the past and the people that they know are the ones who are going to convert the quickest because they've worked with you already. And I would say, like, this is why the script of reaching out to people that you know and saying, do you know somebody that is looking? Because it takes the pressure off of like, hey, are you personally looking right now? You can say, hey, do you know anybody? Because it's that idea where one person knows 5 people and they know 5 people and they know 5 people, and it becomes huge. So you want to kind of look at it that way, see how you can get those repeat clients and referrals. And that's the other reason why, let's go back to when we said that you're working with that one person who you worked with through the whole process. When they're done, don't forget about them. Don't just let them sit and be like, cool, they bought a house, I'm done. Because potentially in the next 7 to 10 years, they might be looking to buy or sell a house again. Maybe they want to buy an investment property, or maybe they have a family member or a friend who's looking to buy or sell. So you want to keep them on your smart plans, keep reaching out, send them home anniversary texts or cards, or maybe a 1-year gift card, something like that. Little things to remind them that they worked with you and it was a great experience and you have not forgotten about them. I think really in an industry where it is very salesy, you want to show people that it's genuine and that you do care about them. Because I think most of us are here because we like people. And so we want to make sure that that's clear by having those different touch points. I actually was at a operations conference a couple weekends ago, and it was really cool because there was a person there. She's a director of ops for a team, and she manages their database for them. And she said, I'm a very black and white person. I'm a very processes, systems, that's my bread and butter. But I also like people, but it's hard for me to connect with them sometimes. So what she would do is schedule in time to love people. And she would actually have her own reminders that were set to say, okay, go talk to that person this day, go talk to this person that day, connect with them, have coffee with them, just say hi in the hallway, whatever it is. And she had to do that because she knows that she's just a very, I mean, I don't want to say cold, but black and white kind of that way. So it's similar in that way, is scheduling in time to love on your database, people that are there. So just something to kind of think about it a little bit differently.
And if you need help scheduling that time to log in your database,
Yeah.
I don't know if you're gonna get into this, but that's where you can use smart plans. There's quarterly calls, so you can set up people in your smart plan to get reminders to call them like once a quarter. So it doesn't have to be like on your brain to remember.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is that I think with her, she got so caught up in her like one lane of like, I work on the database, I work on the systems, that she would forget that other people matter. And I mean, not necessarily forget, but like
Right.
forget in the moment that I need to show people that they matter to me, essentially.
Comfort zone.
Right, exactly. Definitely. Okay, and then the last thing is that it does pay for itself. You know, with all y'all, which I think you all are with KW, so you have a free database, which is pretty good. So it pays for itself, obviously, because it's free. But even if you were not with KW and you had to buy your own CRM, which can be really expensive, even if you were in that situation, it's still going to pay for itself because it's doing so much of that work for you. I'd love to hear actually from all of you. Are any of you using your database kind of at this level at all, that where you have like suggestions or things that are working really well for you? Anybody here? Yeah, go ahead, Cindy.
Because I was a nurse in my other life.
Yeah.
I went through my database. I had, the company that they put it in for me and come in, and then I tagged all my friends that are nurses.
Mhm.
So that's.
Nice.
That's the only tag I've done separately, but
Yeah,
so for Nurses Week, I can send them out things.
yeah,
And I have put, most of my new birthdays, things like that. but
yeah.
I-
Or if, like-
I made up nurses.
yeah, I love that. Well, and that's cool too, because it can, like, if you ever wanted to do like a happy hour for nurses or something like that, then all those people are right there and you can just connect with them right away. Yeah, awesome. Anybody else doing something within their database that they think has been really helpful? No? Okay, that's fine. I really think that the tagging feature is so,
I like tags.
it's so helpful, and even for me, like when I sign out leads to everybody, I immediately add a tag to them that says assigned, and that just helps me not make sure I don't send two people the same lead or something like that. And it can be the same with you if you're working on a team, or if you're referring a lead out, something like that. Like maybe that person is moving to Virginia and you don't have your license in Virginia, so you want to refer them. You're going to keep that person in your database, but you're going to add a tag that says referred or something like that, so that you can just keep things organized. The reason that would be helpful is because you could do like once a month, do like a filter and see, okay, these are the people that I referred out. Let me follow up with the agents I referred these to so that I can make sure that they're doing what they need to close it. Because that's money in your pocket too. Or you could even reach out to those people and say, how's it going? You know, there's all kinds of things you can do with this. All right, so go a little bit into developing your database as well. The first thing I do want to touch on is kind of the difference between marketing and prospecting. And you guys might have seen this pyramid before. It's definitely one of the like core KW models. So the reason I want to point this out is you'll notice that if you're thinking about, like, for example, the food pyramid, at the bottom, it used to, I mean, it still, I think, says that you should have a lot of bread and you should have a lot of vegetables and fruits and things like that. And then sugar's kind of at the top. So if you notice here, the prospecting is at the bottom. That's the base of your pyramid. If we think about it for a second, how stable is a pyramid that is upright like this? It's very stable. Triangles are one of the most strong shapes in the world. So like, it's not going to get knocked over. Your business is very sturdy when it's like this. If you flip it like this, anything can knock that over. The wind blows and it's over. It's done. That's why it's set up like this, is that your prospecting is the base, because your business cannot succeed on marketing alone. At least not until you are like you have all these contacts in referral business and everybody knows you and you're a household name. But for now, as you're getting started, prospecting has to be the core of it. Prospecting is more time intensive, obviously. I mean, most people that are successful in real estate time block 2 hours of lead generation every day. Well, at least Monday through Friday. I would say 5 days a week. So if you're a dual career agent or something like that, you can find when that works for you. It can be the weekend and things like that. But most agents who are full-time do 2 hours of lead gen Monday through Friday. And if you were here for the agent power update earlier this morning, that's fantastic. You were a part of that, but making that a habit. It's also proactive because you're going out and reaching out to the people in your database. You are making the contact and you are taking that proactive action of reaching out. And it also has immediate results. You know right away if that person's interested in buying or selling or not, or if they have somebody that they know that they want to refer you, that they want you to reach out to, you know instantly. So that should be the core. Now, if you want to move to marketing, things like social media that we'll talk about, I'm actually teaching the class on marketing in a couple weeks. Social media, if you want to have Facebook ads, if you want to have any of those other marketing things, that's fantastic, but it has to be the top of your pyramid. It has to be the things that you're doing a little bit on top of your lead generation. So the thing with the marketing is that it is money intensive. Typically, you have to pay for ads, you have to pay for whatever it is to boost your ads on Facebook, or you have to pay for like ads in a magazine or billboards or whatever it is going to be. It's going to be money intensive. It's also passive because you're not the one who's actually reaching out. It's you're relying on other people to see what you're putting out into the world, which is great and it can be really effective, but it can't be the base of everything. And it's also long-term results. It's people who might be interested, but you're not going to know until you reach out to them. I would say things like Facebook ads are fantastic because people click them and they can be automatically put into your database, but they might just be searching. They're not really sure yet. So you're still going to have to go back to the prospecting side and reach out to them. So any questions about this pyramid? Cool. All right. So I want to show you all some different things within Command to do this. There are some recommended tags that you can think about here, and then I'll show you how to set those up. But things like business relationships, were they someone that you worked with in the past? Are they a VIP? So like maybe an investor who buys properties all the time. And so you want to keep them always top of mind. Maybe they're the hobbies and interests. So we had talked about like ravens, or maybe there's pie flavor, like we're having our pie party in like a week or two. So maybe you want to put their pie flavor that they like. So you don't have to ask every year, you just bring it to them as a surprise. Or maybe you want to think about the property type. Do they like townhouses? Do they like single family homes? Do they want, you know, a condo, whatever it might be? And then of course the investors, which we mentioned, and if they're vendors. So having that relationship with your vendors is also really powerful because they can, like if you have a lender that you work with, for example, Primary Residential are fantastic. They'll go to open houses with you. They'll help you with lead generation. They'll help you with marketing. So having them in your database is great too, because the stronger your relationship with your vendors, the more they're willing to work with you and help you with things and stuff like that too. So I just wanted to show you those example tags, but then I'm going to go back to the database. All right, so let's start with a contact. So let's say you want to go ahead and add somebody into your database. So what you do is you go ahead and come over here and click the red KW. It'll open up all of the descriptions for these icons. Once you have the icons memorized, that's fantastic. But if you don't yet, you can click the red KW to see them. Go ahead and click contacts. And from here, you can immediately see everybody that is in your database. So you can see their names, you can see when the last time you reached out to them, you see their tags. And the other thing is you can be filtering here. So once you actually have some people in your database, you can start filtering through. So for example, if I clicked in my tag, I can see kind of what's in here. So for example, maybe somebody likes boxing and I'm gonna send them tickets that I have to a boxing event, let's just say. So I can click that and it'll show me the person in my contacts in my database who likes that. So just to know that filters are definitely something that you can use. But let's say we're going to go ahead and add a contact. So we'll come up here to the top right, click add contact. We can go ahead and add in their name. So let's say we're adding in Minnie Mouse. So you have their full name. You would want to add their email address if you had that. So you go ahead and type that in. Again, if you don't know the email address, that's a phone call. add their phone number information here. If they came from a lead source, you want to make sure that you record that. Like if this is a lead that you paid for, you want to be putting that in there because you want to see if it's actually a good lead source. You know, you'll want to maybe once a month or once a quarter, review your lead sources and see if any of those leads are actually converting. If you're doing the follow-up and you're reaching out to them and none of the leads are ever converting to appointments, maybe that's not a good lead source for you and you don't want to spend any more money on it. So the source can be really important for that reason. The other thing you can put in here is tags. So again, we talked about some different examples for that. You can add new ones. So like, let's say I wanted to add a tag of just friend. You can type it in and create a custom tag. And then once you've actually created that person, that information will be there. You can also add more additional information about the person. So like, let's say you had additional contact information for them. You'd want to put that information in here. You had some about information like their birthday. That's important. Home anniversary is extremely important because some of the smart plans will send things like birthday, happy birthday messages, or they'll send home anniversary cards, things like that. So having as much information in here as possible is really helpful. So the other thing I want to show you is once you have your contacts in your database, you've added your tags and things like that. And I will say, coming up with tags is going to be a process. It's going to be something that you learn as you work with people because new things that you'll find are important will start popping up and you'll be like, oh my gosh, okay, I want to add all those tags in. Just to know that it is a process of finding out what works for you. So I want to show you the smart plans, which is kind of that piece of making your database be the most efficient it can be because it has the automation in it. So we'll go back up here to the top left and click the red KW. And we'll come down here to smart plans. So if you are new to KW, smart plans are drip campaigns. And you can either create your own or you can get them from the library. So normally if you haven't added any smart plans yet, you won't see anything here. So what you'll want to do is go to library and then you can see all the ones that are here. So when you're looking at different smart plans that are available, you want to look at a few things. Obviously, you look at the title and description, but you also want to see how many people have downloaded this. How many stars does it have? How many steps? And you can view the steps and kind of see if it looks like something that you want. And by hovering over the step, you can get an idea of what it says. But that's how you can determine if it's a good one. Typically, if it's made by Keller Williams, it's going to be a really popular one. So for example, right here, you see Keller Williams author. So that's how you can kind of search through here. Some of the ones that I highly recommend is the 36-point touch, which let's say 36 touch. So for example, this one, 36 touch campaign seller. What that will do is it has 18 steps within it. My screen is, yes, hold on. A little bit of issues with this. There we go. So when you're looking at it, to add it, you'll want to actually click Add Smart Plan. Go ahead and click Download. If you want to rename it, you can. And then what you do is you go back to your My Smart Plans, which are the ones that you've actually downloaded, and you can see them here. So my 36 touch campaign seller. So I can click here and look through to see what's in each step. Or I can also click edit and that'll help me actually like be able to read each thing. You definitely want to do that when you're using smart plans because if another agent created it, it might have their name or their information or their website. So you'll want to make sure that you edit those things if necessary. But you can see that these 36 touch campaigns actually have tasks in them. So for example, this is going to say make a call and it's going to show up on your dashboard so that when you log in that day, it's going to say call this person, so that you don't have to take the time to think about who you're going to call each time. And it'll say kind of what it recommends, but like, for example, with this one, it has this agent's name and contact information. So you would want to make sure you change that and then just save it when you do it. But I'll show you what it looks like when you have tasks on your dashboard. So if you go back to home. You'll see quarterly call with this person, quarterly call with that person. And when you're done, then you can just click this check mark and it'll take it off your dashboard. But by having those tasks, it's going to help make follow-up so much easier, which is super important. Any questions about any of this stuff so far?
As you get new tags, how do you add them to those drip campaign when you're in step 9 or 10 or 11?
Yeah, so so you're saying you want to add a contact halfway through an already developed smart plan, is that what you're saying?
Yes, like at what point you start a campaign, and once you start a campaign, you continuously like pick up other people. Do
Oh,
you
yeah.
a smart plan or you wait for a new cycle?
So a smart plan can be added to a contact at any time, and it doesn't start or stop smart plans that have already. So how do I explain this? So a smart plan is constantly ongoing and can start at any time for any person. So let's say you have Fred and Bob, and you put Fred on a smart plan this week, but you want that same smart plan to go on for Bob next week. That's fine. You can add it to him, and it's not going to do anything to Fred's smart plan. Does that
Oh,
make
I
sense?
see. So it goes per contact, and that drip starts for the contact, not so much for the entire directory.
Exactly, exactly. And you can also determine when you want that smart plan to start. So for example, if I reach out to somebody and I call them and left them a voicemail maybe, or I sent them a text or something like that, and I want to put them on the smart plan so that it'll start reaching out to them, but I don't want it to seem like it's like I texted them and suddenly my smart plan also texted them. So what I'll do is say, start smart plan in like 4 days.
I see.
And then that way the automation starts then, and it's a little bit more organic feeling.
So within the command, do they also do email campaigns where they automatically send the email?
So your smart plans can include texts. If you integrate Twilio, which is a texting service that KW will integrate with your command. So text, it'll give email, it'll send out emails, and it will put tasks on your command dashboard so that you know to reach out to them. And it can also send print things, but you'd have to set that up through designs. It's a little bit more complicated. But the texting, emailing, and tasks are the most helpful things for you.
Got it. And then those email contents, do we create those email content or it's already there?
Yep, so you can create your own, or you can use the ones that are already in the library. And I recommend, as you're getting started, to use the ones in the library, just because what you want to spend the bulk of your time on right now is prospecting. So all the shortcuts you can take to get these things into your database, the better. So like when you click library in Smart Plans, it's going to show you all the ones that are here. You just add them, and then you can start adding them to contacts. And I didn't show you how to add them to contacts. So let me show you how to do that really fast.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I have a 10 o'clock meeting, so I'll jump out. But if you let me know when is the next training, I'll definitely attend another training.
Yeah, definitely. Tomorrow, no. Yeah, we can send you the schedule for it. Yeah.
That'd be
Thursday.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that will work. Great.
definitely. And this class is supposed to end at 11:45. So if anybody has to leave, that's totally fine. But just really quickly to show you how to add a contact to a smart plan, you go back to your contact section, you can either go into the contact and add it, or you can click this little 3 dots on the right and then just click add to smart plans, and it'll show you all the smart plans that you've downloaded, and you can just click select. And then, like I said, you can start on a following date, or you can start immediately.
Got it.
So that's how to do the smart plan section. Any other questions so far? We're almost done. So if you have to go, like I said, that's totally fine. But I did want to talk about the kind of touch campaigns that we had mentioned. So for leads, you want to do 19 to connect, and that it breaks down to this. So it's 4 touches, which is quarterly phone calls. It's 12 touches, which are going to be the email, the newsletters, the market reports, the videos. So basically that's monthly. You want to have those things going out to everybody in your database monthly. And then there's 2 touches, which are promotional direct mail. So that might be magnets, might be calendars. Think about things that have a long shelf life. For example, my mom she got a contact directory for local businesses in our town when I was like 10. And that magnet is still on our refrigerator because it's like the high school, the middle school, the elementary school. It's a local Chinese restaurant. It's local pizza places. It's, all these local places. And since that's helpful, she just left that on her fridge, and I am now 30 years old. So, and I don't live at home anymore, but I go home and I'm like, that real estate agent really got their money's worth on that magnet. So think about things that have long shelf life and have value. A big picture of just you is gonna get thrown away. A calendar or a recipe flyer or the contacts of local businesses, that is value. And the last thing is One Touch, which is gonna be an event, like we talked about, maybe partnering with the Humane Society, having a movie screening, having just a general get together, whatever it might be, but you wanna do at least one of those a year. The smart plans can take care of things like reminding you to do these things. So that's what the point of that is to put tasks on your dashboard and to send the emails for you and those types of things. Yeah, go ahead.
The one thing I've run into, like, I was using, someone would think that was just Kirsten's lead
Yeah,
smart plan,
Mhm.
but
Kirsten is, or Kirsten is amazing for that, yeah.
it'll say, join our VIP program, but I don't know what the VIP program is.
Yeah,
Or
sure.
no, there are things in there that I don't know if that's something that she generated. Or I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
But,
so she,
Just wanted to know if you use somebody else's, you gotta know what all the little things. are.
you do, yeah, so if you use a smart plan from a library or even like Kirsten's smart plans, which Kirsten is very good at this stuff. So if you're using her smart plan, that's fantastic, but when you download it to your library, you're gonna wanna go in and make edits if you need to. So if she has a special VIP program, you don't want your contacts signing up for that, because now it's her contact information they're gonna see. Does that make
But
sense?
there's a way I can go in and
Yep.
see, that's what I was trying to find.
Yep, so when you go into your smart plans. And let's say, so I've already downloaded a bunch into my smart plan section. So let's say I want to edit my 36 touch for referral agent partners. I'm gonna come over here and click edit. And what that does is it allows me to see everything that's gonna be sent to them.
Oh,
So you can see, this is the task that's gonna be, that's only you seeing it, so it's up to you if you wanna edit that or not. Again, this is a task. This is a text message that's gonna be sent out, and it's saying the market here in San Diego is still crazy. We don't live in San Diego. So I would go in and I would just say in Baltimore is still crazy. And then if that was the only edit I was making, I just click save. And now it's specific to me. It didn't affect that original smart plan. That guy's smart plan is still fine, but yours that you've downloaded is now personalized. And that's super important, because if it is like something, a link that somebody can click to get more information, that agent's gonna get your people's contact information.
Oh.
Yeah. Any other questions? These are fantastic. It could be fun stuff too, like engage on social media, comment on the agent's post or picture, you know, it's fun stuff, but it's things that you don't have to spend brain space on remembering. It's just gonna remind you to do it. Really quickly on the touch campaigns for people who are actually contacts. So leads are people who have not responded to you, contacts are people who have. So contacts, it's 36 touches. So 4 telephone calls, 26 emails that you're of value that you're sending, 2 events, get-togethers or parties, and 4 direct mail pieces, such as those magnets or calendars or other long shelf life items. So when you have somebody convert from a lead to a contact, make sure you're changing those smart plans as well. And yeah, I know we are just at time here because it was supposed to be 11:45, but I want to give time if there's things that, like, if you have something that you learned today or something that you do that you want to share with other people or aha moments, I'd love to hear from you all on that. Or things that maybe you're going to put in place now that you have listened to this class.
Well, thank you so much for your time. It was very useful, at least to me.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, a database can be so powerful. I can be really nerdy when it comes to a database. So I find out a new thing that I do and I get excited. So. All right, cool. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. We are recording these, so they are going to be on YouTube. I just finished editing yesterday, so it should be on YouTube by the end of today. So just look out for these, and we do these every week, and the ideas of these foundational skills that we're doing are going to be repeating each month. So if you want to come back to this class again, or if you miss one, just to know that we're doing them again. So thanks for coming, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, bye.